And we are officially recording Miles Ahead podcast post Man Uncivilized Men's Initiation Retreat Glow. If we sound a bit off or spacey, it's because we're transitioning back into the relative world. We're going to give it our best shot. I am at Phil Horning's house. If you're not watching this on YouTube, he's sitting right next to me. Both went through the retreat. Absolutely amazing. We're going to get into what went down topically so as not to give away the mystery of what happened at this retreat. Sort of like I did with Connor Beaton's retreat, because I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but I want to let people know how amazing it is so they will go, because you should go. We're still trying to figure out what the fuck just happened. We know a little bit. Phil will talk more about that because I think he understood the concept better about what Michael Gay told us about what happens in retreats. We'll get into who facilitated and all that. We'll talk about our processes. We won't talk about other people's processes because it's confidential, but we will talk about our own. We won't give away what happens, but we'll give you enough to let you know kind of what happened, so you're not like completely confused. Anyways, I'm rambling because I need more caffeine, and I mean, we just got back last night and we were sleep deprived. I mean, I was getting like 4, 5, 6 hours. I didn't get past 6.5 hours.
You couldn't tell by our unshaven faces. And
yeah, you got a nice men's retreat beard going on.
That's pretty much, I was like, yeah, got the goatee really filled in.
I think you should grow it up.
I don't know if I can quite go that route.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Does it grow in fully?
Oh, this, yeah.
Like
but it's more blonde on the side and patchy.
It's kind of cool.
On the side here.
If you move to Portland, you can just do the homeless look and you'll fit right in.
Yeah, if I grow the full beard. Yeah. That'll be
good. Not that Portland's bad, not to disparage what's the PC term? Houseless. You're not supposed to say homeless.
Houseless.
Because it makes a difference. Yeah.
But
because they have a house. It's not a home, like a structure. What is a structure? I don't know. It just gets weird.
Yeah, we're going down a random tangent.
We are, and bear with us, folks, because our minds have been in weird places. We're in transitional space. Thanks for bringing us back. Plus, I have a little ADD, so that's back home.
Oh, it's all good.
We can also edit the fuck out of this and
yeah, we'll probably edit that part.
Yeah, probably should edit that part.
Yeah, we'll keep saying edit so that way it picks it up when you read the transcript.
That's pretty cool. I need to get this software. Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet. All right. Back to reality. Anyways, if you're still listening, where are we starting?
Well, I think the biggest part is we might talk a little bit about reintegration at first, since we started off with that, and then work our way back to what the retreat was, the effect, the impact, and everything that we have there. So really, as Miles was talking about reintegration and how our minds are a little warped, we're still, day after coming back from a pretty heavy duty, intense work, and a lot of connections, a lot of spiritual level type things, a lot of more in depth, a lot of I don't even know where to say it's like life altering type things.
I'm sure for a lot of guys.
So yeah. And I know that's very heavy to hear at the beginning, but really one of the things that was stated there was you'll get 10% of it when you get back. About 10% will be there. And then the rest of the 90% will start to unfold itself over the course of months to years, and even up to a decade is some of the things that will start coming to you and coming back, and how it integrates into your life. So, and that's kind of where we're at, is like, I'm still processing even just that small 10% that I could experience in that from my experience there. So, but yeah, it was quite an interesting journey. A lot of dynamic parts to it, a lot of different ways that they connected you, both to the land, to animals, to yourself, a lot to yourself, and a lot to other men. and a lot of forming, I don't know, tribe, community, togetherness, bonding. So
absolutely.
And I think that's one place, if you want to dive into a little bit, Miles, is like that forming of bond that happened.
Right. Yeah. And I did one of these after action reviews with Connor Beaton's retreat, and the same thing happened. It sort of destroys the myth that men can't bond relatively quickly or at all. The similar thing happened with this one. You get into the circle with the guys, and the guys, we kind of size each other up and see where each other at, and kind of who are you? Typically, us guys do. And that's where most guys stop, right? They're like, okay, I don't know if I can trust you, or society hasn't told us how we can open up to another man or make contact, as Duey Freeman would say. We'll talk all about him in a second. And it gives us the option to do that. And when one man is open and or vulnerable, I know men typically don't like the word vulnerable because it engenders the feeling of being sort of naked on a battlefield with no protection.
I want to counter that.
Yeah, you can. I think psychologically it's different, but if you hear it,
men these days of hearing vulnerable, we have
correct. Yeah,
we have the nice guy who says, "I am vulnerable," though.
Good call out.
We might want to segue for that for a second of what
good call out. Yeah.
Real vulnerability versus saying I just spill and act like the next person I'm in a relationship with has a dump truck and just dump everything. So there is a difference between saying I'm a vulnerable person versus I share my vulnerability with those I choose.
Great distinction. Yeah. I'm gonna start using that. That is a good distinction. But in the relative world, like if someone doesn't get that definition, it lands for men strangely. So I like to use the word openness a lot of the time. But yeah, one man is open or vulnerable in the circle, and then like, oh, he just did that, and then it's like popcorning. And then another man goes, and then you start to feel safe. Okay, if he can do it, I can do it. Oh, I can do it. And then before you know it, you've all shared a little bit more about each other, and no one's making fun of each other. No one's trying to turn the knife or weaponize that vulnerability. And then once that trust is there, just the depth goes whoosh, over the days, you just get tighter and tighter and tighter. And I think men are screaming out to do this, and we have it built in. If you think about historically, like, we'll get into some of the history of the land that this retreat was on. We were in squads as men. We it's in our nature to do this, to bond together, to protect each other, to get to know each other really well. Sort of like, the positive side of like a gang mentality, I guess I could say. But that happened again with this one, just like Connor's, and it's just like proof in the pudding again that that's such a myth. Like if you get into a men's group or things like that, you start to really be able to trust each other. You can say things with honesty. You can call people in, not out, and you can help each other. You can support each other.
Yeah.
And that happened real fast. And a lot of men have never experienced that or don't know how to get that. And these retreats are great ways to go do that.
I think one thing I wanted to add to something that you were talking about earlier was how, like, on the first day, you meet all the other men, but it was almost like an automatic, I gotta size you up.
Yeah.
A bit.
Yeah.
Could happen. We can see that. I mean,
we do that. Yeah.
I definitely was like thinking of the other men. I'm like, well, what are you here for?
Yeah.
What was it that brought you here? And what kind of man are you? Like you could think those thoughts. And some others might have had thoughts of like, how should I protect myself from you?
Yep.
Both physically, mentally, vulnerability,
psychologically.
A lot of that stuff, like I remember when we lined up to go in.
Right. That whole ritual. Yeah.
I mean, people were talking and bonding because it was like, we know why we're here. The reason of like, we're here to work on things and to find a deeper level. But so there was a commonality that could have started the bond.
Correct.
But I remember some of the bonding exercises we did.
I mean, you're talking about this one or Connor's?
This one.
Yeah. That does help to kickstart the whole thing.
Yeah.
A lot of ritualization, that we're missing out in our culture, that just primes us to, be present, go slow, listen to what's happening rather than just, slamming through shit like modern society tells us to. And that's the invitation. and at the frame and the setting to do this work. So they did that extremely well. Yeah,
I mean,
so good.
Going down that rabbit hole even further, we could talk about a bit of like how that additional bonding and how one man's pain could actually end up being another man's pain and connect through that too.
Yeah, that's a huge deal.
I know you had an experience with that, so definitely, yeah. I'm curious. Like,
that was a big one. This happened at Connor's retreat. So let's flush that up for people. So
yeah,
when you see one man go through his process and his pain, it can trigger in you something that resonates deeply that's very similar or informs you that something about yourself you hadn't noticed before. Because you're feeling a lot, you're getting out of your head a lot, and you're getting into the body a lot more. And I've talked a lot about on this podcast about that's the move. Our mentors have taught us this, and this is just more of that. But you see one guy go through his process and talk about his pain, what he's going through, and it kicks up stuff, your own emotions, your own past, your own life, and own things that are going on.
It's already starting to pick things up for me from that too.
You remember? Yeah, we're still in the transitional space. I know. If we bust out into tears in this podcast, like just go with it. We're still in the go with it mode a little bit. So at Connor Beaton's retreat, I experienced this for the first time when someone's going through their process. And I'm not going to give that away because I want that to be special for someone who goes through it, what that looks like. But there's a lot of support around you when it happens and a lot of things that happen. But so like a man would be going through his pain. And at Connor's, that happened to me a couple of times where someone's going through his thing and I would just start crying with him or feeling that whatever's going through with him. And his at least had a few breaks. Like another guy's like, I could see he was upset and I'm just holding space and it wasn't landing personally for me. Like, cool, that was heavy. And then, a couple more. And then, oh shit, this one's really hitting me hard. And I would cry with and like really feel deeply with this. At this retreat, I had 0 breaks. It was like the first guy went and like, yeah, I'm cool. Yep. Feel it. No. Okay. I'm cool. Yeah. Wow. That really hit. And like, I could feel the cracks in my chest. Like they wanted to come out, but that, that part of us as humans, that especially humans just want to push it back down. That part was like, nope. Yeah. Let's not go there. But if the point's not to do that at the retreat, your point is just let it come out, let it come, let it come. And so I think it was like 5 or 4 men in a row just was like bam, bam, bam. And every single one with 0 breaks, I was just snot and tears and so much resonation, so much similar pain.
Yeah.
No breaks. So it was powerful. And I think also I really released a lot of emotional pain that I'm carrying from my work with my patients that I see. As psychotherapists and coaches out there, what this is about. Even if it's not similar to your story, you're still taking on in your nervous system a lot of people's pain day in, day out. And intellectually, I know, okay, I got to leave this at the door. I don't want to bring this home with me. But I think nervous system wise, I was. And how could you not, right? Like,
right. I mean,
I've got to incorporate some practice where I get this out of me. And that was another layer, I think, of why it was so easy to dump all this, because it was this open space that was safe to do that. And so I think I released a lot of stuff over the last year or two that I'd been building. So, yeah, man, that was incredible. And then at the very end, it led to yours.
It did. A lot of the father wounds are being talked about.
Yeah, it was hitting for a lot of guys.
I know you had some that came up for you as well.
Yeah. Man number 2. You know who you are.
But yeah, no, it really, it took me a while to also the same kind of thing. Like I had to process what wound I needed to work on and what wound was coming up for me in that and what was stuck inside of my system and just like what was causing some of the walls that I had. And it was just crazy after some men were sharing, went through their process, and then some others were sharing just open discussion and not the process, but it was more that hit me. And, I was just like, man, this is hitting me for a father wound that was a constant. I had, a lot of constant pain, a lot of constant breaks of contracts, breaks of promises,
A rupture.
a lot of ruptures. And it wasn't, what I would say, anything a highly traumatic event or anything that was caused for it. But there was quite a bit of that trust and trying to build that relationship that would got broken multiple times.
Well, it's still pain.
And to fully describe it, it was like there was times where I tried to forgive my father, tried to say, I told him, I want a connection. I need a father in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And despite giving that openings, between college and some other times in my life, it was just, it was like, yes, I want that. And then disappeared.
Mm-hmm. Ghosted,
or not, I would say quite ghosted, but fully retracted from.
Better.
It wasn't I want to continue to build this relationship. It was, I'm scared. Feeling.
Yeah.
That I was getting from him and not wanting to do that. So it caused both a lot of deep shame, but also anger was a big one.
I bet.
A lot of anger.
And as men were sharing, you started to feel these emotions bubble up.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And in my past, I never thought I was like, had that kind of anger, that kind of energy. and I think the laugh we are, it's not laughing at the anger. It's literally because we understand what that anger can be and that it's healthy to have anger as a man.
Clean anger.
That's great way to put it.
I stole that from Connor. That's his thing.
Clean anger at something, but not to be taken out on something else. In that clean anger, if you want to give a quick definition, what his clean anger was.
I'll probably butcher it, but it's more like protective. If like say someone's attacking your child, whatever, you're going to get pretty pissed and like, bad things are going to happen, but it's clean. It's not like I've premeditated this or I'm not maneuvering. I'm not doing anything devious. Like, no.
Or in a way attacking you.
Yeah.
And we don't have a lot of outlets as men to put our anger towards.
Jiu-jitsu, if anyone's listening, just keep doing jiu-jitsu.
Let's just shout out to Traaver.
And all our mentors. Jocko.
All the mentors. But, there's not a lot of healthy places to express anger, and we're told to repress it as men. We're told we're not supposed to feel anger nor express that towards anything, when in reality, a healthy anger, not rage, not violence.
That's what we're allowed to do, right?
Right.
We can go up to the bar, get tanked, and have a bar fight and release it there, right? That's acceptable, sort of, But
it's more of the
blast radius after that can be bad. But.
Right. But we're not allowed to sit there and tell our friends and get angry, not at them.
At the situation.
But at the situation, and show anger in front of them because we think we're going to confront them, which...
We're going to fight.
That's part of the bond.
Mm-hmm. It is.
That's part of the bond. It's like, Miles, if you were to say, man, I got anger and I just need to fucking yell at you, telling me that, I'd be like, go for it.
Tell me more.
Tell me everything. Yeah. Rage with me. Yeah. Let's do it. I'm here.
Yeah.
I will witness you and I will be there right with you.
Yeah. How good does that feel?
Right.
You feel safe and like, okay, I can just let this out. We're not squaring up. I'm not taking it personal. I don't feel like I have to caretake you. I'm just going to help you with your process.
Yeah.
You don't get trained that unless you do these sort of retreats or this work.
And actually, continuing from that.
Yeah, let's tell them what happened.
Let's tell them a little bit more what happened. So as I was going through my experience and process, it first started off with me needing to say the words that needed to be said. Mm-hmm. The angers, the cussing. Can we cuss on this? Can't remember.
It's my fucking podcast.
Okay, there we go. So saying fuck or damn it, really loud and fuck that. because those were the things and the emotions and the memories that were stuck, and they needed to be expressed in that way of that anger to say, fuck that. That was fucked up.
Yeah.
Of what happened.
Yeah. Uninhibited.
Right.
Raw.
Right.
I mean, the whole raw, real relational of what Uncivilized preaches.
Yeah.
Got the intellectually. I felt that this whole retreat.
I mean, I think right now we're on the border of turning this into an R-rated from how much cussing, but if I continued with how much cussing I did and yelling, it probably would. But
we're talking about being uncivilized here, right? We're not in the Matrix. You know, we're not overly curated, right?
I mean, we're still pushing it onto a civilized platform, so yeah, fuck that.
Find your tribe, man. If a word offends you, like, that's your fault. Like, I'm not saying fuck you. I'm saying this is about your process, and the fucks needed to come out, and that was very releasing. And I bet there was a time in your life where you couldn't say fuck to the person you want to out of fear that the person would distance.
A lot of times.
Yeah. So that needed to come out. Yeah.
So that was a big gateway processed. And from the parts I remember, because 30 minutes, dude, felt like 3 minutes.
Yeah, totally.
So everything feels condensed, and that's where I'm still unpacking things and just trying to pull it wider and wider of what actually happened. But so that was the first process, was just being held by a couple of leaders and being able to shout. And they were shouting with me, which made me feel really good, because it was needed, because having that person just start that and say, it's okay.
You have permission.
And you have permission. I love that.
And I got you.
Yeah.
And then we're all shouting with you.
And that's something to do with, you're the person that you're bonding with and creating that friendship with is give them permission. I think is a good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by yelling too with them.
Yeah. Let's go, man. Let's
do it. Yeah. So the next component that happened was, and that they noticed, was there was a lot of energy that had to move both up and down in my body. So for those that understand that level of like where things sit in your body when you go through hard times and those types of things, and those
basically nervous system,
little trauma moments or little breaks of that contracts and relationships,
breaches. Yeah.
It was both in my chest and in my stomach.
That's where you felt them.
Right.
And that's where they got blocked.
Right. And when it was the energy needed to flow down, which is apparently where a lot of my fire and my anger was.
And if you went woo-woo in the chakra system, that's your will.
Yeah.
It's your will area.
Great.
So it lines up.
And that's where it was blocked. Because a lot of the things that happened in my life initiated when I was 13, when a lot of my identity was just starting to form. And I couldn't be
authentic,
a boy trying to figure himself out to become a man.
That's Duey Freeman's trading authenticity for attachment.
Yeah. So a lot of that initiated. From there, what I remember, if you remember anything to fill in the blanks, because there's so many blanks.
Gets blurry. Yeah.
I remember the men came in at that point.
Yep. The process began in full at that point.
Yeah. And that's where energy needed to move. Like, it was moving down at that point when I was cussing.
The rage.
And everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, energy needs to move up. And it was more like I needed to feel for a second supported.
Yeah.
Helped.
Safe.
And nourished.
Yes.
And I think that's what happened next.
It wasn't, the block didn't.
Right.
It felt safe enough not to block.
Right.
Yeah.
And then after talking more, a lot of sadness came up. I remember talking about the passing of my nephew, the experience and some of the anger there, the sadness from the pain of the wounds of my father and not finding myself. A lot of pain at myself, to be honest.
Interesting.
A lot of pain of not being authentic, feeling authentic, nor letting myself have a voice.
Sort of a critical part of you.
Very critical. So that's where the sadness came up, when energy flowed up. And then once again, it shifted back down.
To the anger.
Yeah. And that's where Michael Gay said, okay, now let's do something to move that anger again.
You move this grief out.
And he did. We did an exercise. I won't say that one because there's a couple of things we're going to censor for the sake of letting you have the experience.
Yeah, we don't want to ruin it.
So he did an exercise there with all the men, but similar to what Miles did. Yeah. So it felt like a little sinking happening.
What I did at Converse was It is almost a replica of what you went through, which is synchronicity. Well,
synchronicities is my word, but I know it's not. But
if you want to hear
synchronicities,
Phil's previous backstory about his father, you should. But he invented the word synchronicity in that podcast.
Yes, synchronicity.
But we mean synchronicity.
It's literally my dyslexia wanting to flip that word and say some weird different pronunciations. Slight to it.
Make up your own words. Yeah. It's all good.
But after that event unfolded and I had a breath in a moment, I still was like, okay, I'm charged, but it was a positive charge. Mm-hmm. And I think I had a smile on my face. And,
your chest was out and you're standing tall.
Yeah. Well, then Michael was like, okay, what do you want to do next? And I was like, I want to wrestle. Because I was like, I just want to push something. I want to engage on something. So he's like, okay, find a man in the room that you want to. And I look over at Traaver. I'm like, okay, maybe. Then I'm like, no.
You saw his cauliflower ears and like, probably not a good idea.
No. It was more like I was thinking like my ego wanted to go after one of, not go after, but wrestle one of the leaders.
With one of the big dogs, yeah.
I was like, in my heart, Miles.
Yeah, and I was kind of skulking back behind because I wanted you to be able to work with one of the big dogs. Plus, my Achilles is still healing. I'm only 6 months post-op, so.
But and I forgot about that when I hesitated. I just looked around and I was like, no, I Traaver for about a second, and I was like, I would be fun, but where's Miles?
And you found me.
And I found him, and I wasn't trying to toss you around with the legs, but definitely more upper body.
Yeah, I can still handle you. I can still move without hurting myself, and if it got out, I would.
So we went for a little bit, and then Michael stepped in.
And then he does not have a hurt Achilles.
No, he does not have a hurt Achilles. And so I started tossing him.
And he's like really good at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. And he wanted me to toss him a bit. And all we were doing was just standing up pummeling. It wasn't like I was throwing him on the ground.
Over-unders for those jiu-jitsu folk out there.
But, after that, there was a couple other things too that happened with just being supported with men. After I had my wrestling moment and took a breath, catching my breath, my throat, of course, hurt from yelling and was out of breath.
You looked like you had fun too, though.
I did.
Like play.
I did.
It was like anger meeting anger in a safe place.
Right.
With like, I can do this and really sit and this guy can hold it. We're not trying to hurt each other, but we're trying to beat each other.
Yeah.
And then there's like a lot of play to it. And we miss out on that.
And I think a key part was that reintegration afterwards. Because it felt like I had the rage, the anger, the wrestling, the other component that was there. And then at the end, all the guys came in and supported me again.
Yeah. Yep.
And that was a key part to say what you did was okay. Like it was like that permission. You're good. We have you.
Yeah.
And that was a good part and good feeling. And there's more to it too, but you have to go and experience it
has to be
for your own self, because the experiences you can go through, even other men probably having experiences as I was going through it as well. Someone came up and said, thank you for showing me that.
Yeah.
Thank you, because I have this in me as well.
Yeah. I'm afraid to show my full masculinity or whatnot.
Yeah. But some of the things too at the end that was stated, I probably won't remember the exact phrases because things are still, that's a hard process. That was stated was, the world needs to feel your sharpness, and that you need to be a knife that cuts the world together, which is an interesting statement, not apart. And I know that sounds...
We're still working that one through.
We're still working on that because it comes out of a story.
I wonder if it's sort of like the sort of Manjushri Buddhism where it's cutting through ignorance, and then you like when you said there was that line here,
right?
You cut through that part that was blocking, and it brought you together. Exactly. Right. I think that's what he was going for.
He was definitely doing that, but also the world itself on all of our polarities, all of our extremes. And because I don't want the world to go into two different extremes.
Oh, we're doing that right now.
we are, but
we need some sharp
my heart, it just, I see it happening, and I just want to pull people together, men together.
Yes.
And yes, we can have differences. Yes, we can have different opinions, but that's what makes us fucking human.
We're supposed to do that. Yeah.
And that's the true beauty in life, is that we are unique beings, but we are all together on this. And that's what I think he meant too, by cutting the world together.
Back together again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can have discourse, not debate. Discourse is going after truth. Debate, somebody has to win.
Right.
And then we're in two camps.
Cutting apart the barrier that blocks us.
Yeah. And we're all sort of doing that at this retreat as well.
I mean, what a thing to say. And then using Traver's words and the Uncivilized words, what a real, raw relational experience that was.
Yeah, and you're sort of, if you use his archetypes of the Marlboro Man in the sense of New Age guy, you're cutting the barrier between those two so they can integrate. And we integrate, that's healthy masculinity. And it's kind of what this men's work is all about. It's what Uncivilized is going for.
Yeah.
And then I told you probably should get a knife tattoo.
I think I'm going to incorporate it. I don't have a tattoo yet, but I am actually coming close on getting one. I have some good ideas I want to put together, and I think now that's going to be incorporated as part of some of the symbols I want.
I like it. That's your nickname now, the knife, by the way.
Yeah, that's what everybody started calling me at the retreat was Phil the Knife. And what's funny is, the knife has the silent K. Phil, I mean, I don't know what it was, but you might want to edit that part out.
Yeah.
Mark.
You don't have to. We're raw, real relational.
No, we gotta be raw. But no, it's it was interesting to hear a lot of the men come up and say, "Phil the Knife," and
they saw you.
Yeah, and they did say, like, "Yeah, you look different, lighter. Your eyes are different.
You're standing up much straighter."
Yeah, I mean, I already stand up fairly straight. But it was just like even more shoulders back, more.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Not like collapsed in or shoulders up. It was just like, yep, I'm taking my space. It's okay. I'm not competing on your space, but this is my space.
So, no, it was a powerful experience. And yeah, what a moment to share. And I'm glad I got to wrestle you.
It was fun. Pommeling is fun.
Yeah.
If you do jujitsu, you'll know what we're talking about. Anyways, that was powerful. That whole day was probably, well, maybe yesterday was pretty powerful too, but like that was the set as far as the emotional dump goes for a lot of guys. That was it.
Yeah. And I think that was the interesting part about this initiation retreat for the full week was there's a lot of dynamic parts to it. There was a good part where we worked with animals, horses.
So good.
That was such a beautiful moment. And just working on a little bit of energy flow with them and how to feel into another being and this 1,200-pound animal.
Yeah, some big boys out there.
And they were just so gentle.
Yeah.
When you were gentle with them.
Yeah.
But and I know just real quick, my experience was I walked in and after a few minutes, because the herd of horses that were there, we're a little nervous. What's this big group of guys coming in?
Yeah, this is Dewey's terrain, Duey Freeman. This is his Jedi world.
But
he took us to a place where there are a bunch of horses, and he said it's like, you just walked into their house and started opening up the drawers and like, hey, where are the glasses? Where are the dishes? What are you guys doing in here? And it's like, they're picking up on all that energy. We just walked into their house, so that's what's going on, and they're trying to figure out, wait, who are you and what do you want?
What are you doing?
And horses are highly relational animals, and that's why they're so powerful for doing equine assisted therapy and the work that we did at this retreat. But to go ahead and continue.
I mean, just a real quick experience, because I know you had a great experience with a horse that
Absolutely.
I think is worthwhile mentioning. But I just remember going in, and after a few minutes of the horses kind of settling, a couple of horses came over and they're just like, yeah, give me attention. Attention. And then one horse in particular just like wanted to be just held. So I held him. And this was the day before my process.
Yes.
Is that the day before? Yeah. It's all kind of blending.
It does. Wait, what day is it?
And so it was interesting of how horses and working with animals in nature can reveal things inside of you.
Absolutely.
Because that horse wanted to be held and he wanted to be supported and heard. Like I could tell, like it was strange. It was like, I know you have a story. So
he's like, I know you because you're like me.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Yeah. You could just tell in his eyes he had something in his past, because these are rescue horses too. So not sure what happened, but it was definitely an experience like that. So, but your experience was incredible to watch.
Yeah, I felt honored because Dewey had everybody stop and he walked me through how to. There was this smaller horse who Duey had not. He didn't reckon he said it was new, and he was just running around like all over the place. People are trying to go up and approach him, and he just bolts. And Dewey's like, yeah, he's just trying to find his place. He doesn't know where he belongs yet. And Duey, being the Yoda he is, he's like, hey, Miles, why don't you, does everybody stop? Hey, Miles, why don't you approach this horse? And I'm like, me? Okay.
Yeah.
And he knew that some of my wounds are, where do I belong in the world? Where do I belong with? And that's a whole separate podcast. But he senses these things in people so well. I mean, he's been doing this work for 400 years. Like, he's literally like Yoda, like he's 900 or something. Like, he can see your soul, I swear.
His past life must have been,
bro,
shaman and
I don't know what's going on, but
something
pretty freaking amazing
in a galaxy far, far away.
Probably, yeah. I sometimes feel like that. Yeah, if you ever get the chance to work with Duey Freeman, do it.
Yeah,
say yes right away. Just if it costs $40,000, just do it. It doesn't cost. It doesn't cost that much. But if it does, do it. Anyway, so everyone stopped and looked, and the little guy was just finally settled because everyone was not moving around. And he walked me through how to approach a horse, like for the first time. And he's like, okay, now take 2 steps forward and stop. And he's said, you see how his head lowered, or you see how his lip kind of quivered. He said that he's releasing a little bit of energy, a little bit of trauma, a little bit of fear.
There was the ears too.
Yeah, ears lowering. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if
moving away.
Yeah.
From.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're like these tells with horses that, I had no idea, but he can sense micro expressions with these guys and in humans.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, now see the horse did X, Y, and Z. And I slowly approached more and more and more until I went up to him and was scratching his neck and giving him a hug and just sitting with him. And he wasn't running. And it was like, whoa, this is, I can feel emotions coming up. And I'm sure that the horse felt the same, because he was scared to death, and he just needed, like, who's got my side, who's got my back? Because these other horses some of them were alphas, they were brushing the other big boys off, and this guy's like, he's not a teeny horse, but he's smaller. So he was like, there are a bunch of alphas in this pen. I don't know, where do I belong? So Dewey's like, you help him feel like he has a pack now. I feel there was a bond. And then when we stepped away, he kind of followed me and was like near me for a while. I was like, whoa, this is weird.
He did.
I felt really sad when I had to leave. Like, I want to take you home.
Your daughters would love that, but
oh yeah, they want a dog, and I brought back a horse. Like, oh, you're the best dad ever. I think you'd be the best dad for the rest of my life. Like, yep.
Except
I worked done here.
Except when it comes to scooping up the poop.
Yeah, I mean, that was with a dog. They gotta, like, if you want a dog, you gotta pick up the poop. And finally, they said they would do it. So a dog's coming, but if I brought a horse, they might be like, Dad, you're shoveling that up. But,
what an experience!
Absolutely priceless.
I mean, what did you feel for, like, the energy connection and an energetic level?
I felt a lot of anxiety at first, because they can pick up on yours. So I was trying to calm myself as much, and I don't know if that was my fear about not, like, everybody's watching me too. Like, okay, I'm the guinea pig here. Yeah. I didn't want to bring that energy to the horse and scare him off, but I also wanted to make him feel calm. So every time that he said stop, I'd take a breath and, like, calm myself. But I think maybe energetically, if this probably exists, but off that horse back to me, maybe I was picking up him. I mean, if we're relational beings and they're highly relational, there's probably a chance that I'm feeling some of the horse's skittishness as well. So, but as I got closer and there was more trust, he was like, come on in. And then there was like, scratch his neck, because they can't that's a place they can't get. It's like a dog's belly, Yeah. And so I was just scratching his neck and petting him, and he was like calm, like, this is awesome. So I just
felt that calm kind of with him.
I was able to give him a horse head hug and things like that. I was like, oh, this is really amazing. And he just didn't bolt. Everyone else had tried to go up to him at first. He was just running. Like, I don't trust you. Yeah. Too much, too fast, right? Like in relationships, you can't come on too strong. I was like, whoa, what are you doing? Like. And
to add to that too, because it just came to mind, was something that Dewey said was, like, you basically are asking the horse with your energy, can I?
Yes.
Pet you? Can I come in?
Yes.
And it's very similar in relationships of how we use our energy.
Mhm.
It's like, are we just trying to penetrate energy with someone,
Yeah.
like a girlfriend or
Force
a
it.
wife? Are we trying to force this?
Yeah.
Or are we asking ourselves with our heart
Can I
first,
enter?
can I come in?
Is that the creating opening that he's talking about?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it was just like, can I come in?
Mhm.
Can you come here to me?
Mhm.
And it's penetration, but in a different way, through love, through a
Yeah.
conversation of energy.
You're invited in.
And where that energy is coming from, your head, your heart, or your balls. It's like, where's that coming in from? And if it's purely ball energy, then no, like it's going to feel very scary for,
especially to a horse. Like, what are you trying to do, bro?
Yeah, what are you trying to do? Well, that's going down the wrong path there.
You don't belong at this retreat, bro. That's a different retreat. That's the wrong kind of consent. Yeah.
But like thinking about the wife, the girlfriend, of how we approach.
Yeah, if you're leading with that, they're going to pick that up. Absolutely.
They may not even understand it.
Right. Energetically,
but energetically it's felt.
Yeah. Force.
Yeah.
Or even like, sometimes if we go to the archetype of like a sensitive new age guy, they'll go on a date and be like, okay, I gotta, lock this down. And at the end of the day, okay, I'm thirsty. Are you free? Cause like, I'd really like to see you again. It's like, whoa, dude, I just met you.
I mean, I'm guilty of that.
Totally. I've done it before too. Really what you want to say is like, that was great. I'll get in touch. That's awesome. And you just leave it.
And more of like hey, I'd love to see you again energy. Can we see each other again type?
Very grand.
Ask through energy, but not saying, oh my God, I need to know right now.
Mm-hmm.
We have to go again. We have to see each other. It's just,
or else
it's more of a nice,
you're grounded
conversation, a nice, can't think of the word right now, approach, but in a very highly, I guess I'll use the word grounded way.
It's absolutely grounded, and you're comfortable in your own skin. You like them, but if it doesn't work, you're cool.
Yeah.
Like, all right, the dynamic didn't work, but it's not me.
Yeah.
That's very attractive, I'd say, to another person. Like,
oh yeah. Yeah.
No matter what kind of relationship you're in, if it's friend or romantic, like people can pick that up.
Yeah.
So yeah, the horses have superpowers when it comes to that. So
yeah.
It was amazing.
And I mean, speaking of energetic connection, I think we can spend the last couple minutes here talking about on the last day experience. Slight, because I want to add a little mystery. Intrigue.
Yeah, we got that day was,
but a bit of experience on the land.
Yeah,
that was there.
Well, and you have property, 10 minutes from this place, which was another synchronicity.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy when I signed up for the retreat and I finally got the address, and I was like, wait, this is not far from where I already bought land here in Colorado. And it was just like, well, that's really interesting, because I liked the area too, and it does have a certain energy to it.
I felt it on the last day for sure.
Yeah, so there's definitely a felt experience, and yeah, it was crazy. It was a crazy synchronicity.
You gotta make a t-shirt.
Synchronicity right here.
Phil's coaching.
Speaking of which, the Uncivilized Nation t-shirt.
Shout out. Shout out to the Eagles right here for winning the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl, by the way.
Fun to be.
The digressions on the podcast.
Yeah. No. So maybe the last, I guess, few minutes we could take is just
and
what you experienced.
This is in Jefferson, Colorado, if you're wondering what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, in that area.
It's on the website too. If you sign up, it'll say Jefferson, Colorado. So not revealing like an undisclosed location or something.
No.
But it kind of feels like that. Like you can parachute it in, and like we are in the middle of nowhere.
You're about 45 minutes from the nearest larger town.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple tiny towns that are just houses, maybe a bar. I think that's all that was there.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Jefferson had like a single place to eat.
Yeah. And questionable whether it was open.
Yeah, it was open.
Yeah, we went from the top of the mountain down to the valley floor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So a little bit about the topography of the area. Making sure I was saying that word right, not synchronicity. So it's actually like in between a couple of mountain ranges, and it's just this bowl area that became a plains. Really, it's it's a lot of grazing area. It's still at 9,000 feet
Dude, I could not
elevation.
breathe.
So
Could not
it's a high plain area in the mountains. But gorgeous. I mean, you have snow-capped 13ers, 14ers around you in the backdrop. You have some of the quote foothills in the area too that are full of trees and life, but this big open plain area and just dried grass, because during this time of year right now, it's not. It's pretty sparse, so that it hasn't gotten a lot of moisture. But and the place we went to just had a very sacred intersection of lines, especially related to Buddhism. Yeah. And can't really describe too much further than that. But
if you do the retreat, Michael will explain
you'll
it.
Hear more about
and
it.
You will be moved.
Yeah.
Promise. Yeah.
So, I just know some of the experiences, some of the draws that it gives you. And it just wants, for me, it was like I needed to surrender to it, and I needed to feel into the earth.
And I like the way Michael opened to like listen to what the land says to you.
Right.
And I would not have been able to do that on day one.
Yeah.
But the fact that we went through all the things we did and going really slow and learning to be open and present allowed us to be able to connect with that concept. Yeah. And it wasn't a concept after that. It was embodied. No. Yeah. So that I think that's why this is on the last day. Like this was by design. I think it was. Anyway. And I
don't want to reveal too much because you have to go and experience yourself, because I think if we state ours, I don't want to dilute.
No, we want to keep the mystery a little bit here,
but definitely you will feel something, you'll hear something, if not from the land, from yourself.
Yeah, everybody went through a process, and if you wanted to share, you could. And people had some really profound experiences.
Yeah,
mine was surprising. Yours was surprising and
white.
a little bit of skin.
A little bit of skin. You can. I'll leave you guys' imagination on that, but just my overarching whiteness into the ground, basically.
Yeah. Then people's imaginations just went a bunch of ways.
Oh, it's good. Yeah. No, we'll leave it at that. But get some good people laughing at it.
We're not trying to start an OnlyFans page, guys.
No. Maybe only pause.
Oh yeah,
only pause.
That's a great idea.
We still got to do only pause. Let's get my dog on it.
Yeah, it's like a dog rescue site.
Just showing just the pause and saying, this is a dog you can rescue. This is a dog, donate to this dog.
And you find out the breed by donating a little bit more money, and you see a little bit more. Oh, it's a German Shepherd. Sign me up.
Guess what kind of dog breed this is?
Yeah. The digressions in this, man. This is amazing.
But no, definitely want to give props to Traver, Duey, Michael Gay, Dave Boyd, and Zach Miller. Those guys running this retreat, part of all, Man Uncivilized. Definitely check them out. Check out their retreat. They were just amazing every step of the way.
I feel like sitting with like the Jedi Council if you're a Star Wars fan.
It kind of was like that.
Dude.
Even the way Traver sits on his meditation.
Yeah. Jedi. There's Mace Windu right there. That guy will fuck you up, but he's really nice.
Maybe we should get him a purple lightsaber.
He definitely. Yes. If you're not a Star Wars fan, sorry, but if you are, you know what we're talking about.
But no, it's just definitely a big shout out to those guys for running an incredible experience and what they're trying to do for men out there.
You can't say enough good things. Yeah. And Connor Beaton and Traaver are buddies. And I consider it like joint operations in the military. Like we're all part of the same movement in a different way. Like you might be Marines, I might be Army, but hey, we're on the same team fighting or trying to get the same movement or mission done.
We're building the brotherhood.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. And Traver's vision is reaching 1 million men.
Yep.
So anyway, we get there. I mean, both these retreats were highly profound for me. Don't hesitate if you feel the call, just sign up.
Yeah, and we're saying we because there's a big incorporation that even Traver stated was like the things that we do even separately. I know I have my coaching, you have your therapy practice, and a few things that you're getting into in the podcast. It's all combined.
joint operations.
Moving that, and that's some of the things he stated too. Was like, yeah, this is a we.
It's a we.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, this is me and my. No, it's we, and that's what's beautiful about it.
Yeah, we don't need to compete. We just need to bring each other up.
Yeah.
What was that? Rising tides raises all the ships, or so whatever the cliche statement is.
I believe that's right.
Something like that. Yeah. I should know this better at doing the Coast Guard part-time. But
you need more caffeine.
I got some right here. And by the way, New Tonic, Chris Williamson, if you'd like to support the podcast, we're very much open to that.
Give me money.
As your dyslexia tried to call it Neurotonic at first, which I thought was actually a kind of a cool name, a Neurotonic. That's actually a good name.
Yeah.
But it's just New Tonic.
Yeah, that's
tasty.
Yeah.
Just need about 6 more.
It's not an official ad. It's not official.
We're not yet sponsored, but we're open to it.
So yeah,
good place to land the plane.
Yeah, I think so.
You all know how to reach me, and the links are always at the end of in the show notes. I'll link Phil's, but do you want to tell people where to find it?
Yeah, you can reach me at. My website is thegroundedwarrior.com. There's a lot of good resources I put up there, some free resources. Also, if you want to do any kind of one-on-one coaching, group coaching, that's all available as well. Or if you just want to talk, I'm here. We can always just have a chat.
You got good social media too.
Yeah. Right now I had a little bit of a pause, but getting back to the social media presence, that's Grounded Warrior on Instagram. So that'll be there. Still working on a podcast. Yeah, I had some snags and some delays, but
it's time.
Now that we're, utilizing this full setup here, I think it's definitely time.
Yeah,
so
this is good stuff.
And I feel it. I feel that. I feel the knife. I feel the knife.
cut through the blocks.
So podcast shortly, shortly being podcast timing of development and stuff, but we'll see what it becomes. But please feel free to just reach out too. Here, we're both here.
Yeah, leave comments. It reviews only 5 stars. If it's a 1, just don't do anything. In all seriousness, though, if this helps anybody in your life, or you think, oh man, they could use this retreat, or they could use coaching or therapy or whatever, share this podcast. It does. It's not just for us. It is our mission to join the Uncivilized Nation, Connor Beaton, and their movements to reach more men. We do need to help men. We do need to sort of redefine what healthy masculinity looks like, because like Traaver says, we have the moral man option or the sensitive new age guy. And there was one other one that they're working on. I don't know if you want to mention that yet.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite ready.
Okay, we'll let that be the surprise. But those are kind of like the options we get in society, and it's not working, obviously, if you just look around you. So we're trying to integrate the masculine and feminine to be, as Carl Jung would say, hold the tension of the opposites to wholeness. And all these men there just embodied that 100%. So if you're a female listening to this, you got a guy in your life that could use it, send the podcast, or just check out. We'll put links in the show notes to all these places to us.
Uncivilized is also becoming more and more open
to women. Yes, they've got a women's retreat coming.
Because that's also like how to help men in a way.
1,000%.
So it's definitely a good thing. So check it out. Well
done. Yeah, this was not bad considering we're in transitional space and we're still trying to figure out what happened. So if we're tangenting a lot, apologies. But the plane is now landing. Sorry about the turbulence, but hopefully this landing is smooth, not bumpy, and we'll be arriving at your gate soon, and off you go.
Making a legal disclaimer that there was no ads, no advertising.
But we're open to
it. We are trying to promote. But
don't sue us, Newtonic. But if you want to support us, we are very much open to it.
No, thank you for having me again. It's always an honor. It's always a pleasure, man.
Yeah.
And I will wrestle you anytime.
Yeah, same. It'll be better when my Achilles is better. And cool to be here in your home space again and your setup. And I'm still trying to get you to move to Oregon. So
we'll continue to work on that.
Yeah. Then we can do this in Portland. So it's all good. Yeah. All right, y'all. I guess we're out.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.